I never have enough money. God. Can you relate to that one? I'm sure a lot of us can. Money is one of those touchy subjects. And I believe the more that we talk about it, the more we can build a healthy relationship with money. But for me, my relationship with money started from a very young age. Unexpectedly, unbeknownst to me, I am the youngest of 5 children, and I was always told that I was spoiled. I have 1 older sister and 3 older brothers, and as the youngest, every single one of them believed that I had more than they did, and that I was spoiled and I got new clothes and I got all the toys and things. And if you are the youngest child, you probably resonate with that to some degree. But I didn't feel spoiled. I don't really remember having a lot of extra. And it wasn't a bad thing that I didn't have extra. I really didn't know or feel like I was missing out on having extra. It was just that I didn't feel like I was spoiled. I never resonated with that. And I actually would get incredibly offended because I felt like I was wearing hand-me-downs. And I felt like I had what I needed. You know, I was an athlete, so I did get a lot of equipment and things like that. But I didn't ever really feel spoiled. And I actually was incredibly conscious of the way other people handled their money. I knew, or I felt or sensed that there wasn't enough. I shared in another video that I didn't feel like I had enough food sometimes. And it wasn't that there wasn't food, and it wasn't that there wasn't money. It was just my perception was that there wasn't enough. And so I carried that. I would go to Culver's and wouldn't want to ask my parents for money. When I was young, like in the 8th grade, you know, and I didn't have a job, and I didn't have the extra, but I never really felt like they had the extra to let me do that. And they always gave me money. My dad always gave me a $20 bill pretty much anytime I would ask for it in that way as I got older. But I still wore that as a need to protect them, a need to make sure that they had enough before I had enough. And it really made me feel guilty to take what I needed because it meant that someone else didn't get to have it. But then everybody was calling me spoiled at the same time. So I had these 2 very differing beliefs that have taken me a long time to really work through and try to understand, because my belief now is that there is more than enough for everybody, and that I want to create a place that there is more than enough for everybody, and that people feel well fed, and you know, they have a roof over their head and they have what they need. Because for a long time I didn't feel like I had what I needed.
Well, let's jump right back into it with step 1. What was that?
That was guilt and shame around money. It was a feeling of not having enough at the same time. So feeling guilty for wanting more, but also feeling shame for not having and desiring to want more.
And that brings us to step 3. Where did that come from?
I think for me, being the youngest of 5 was just, I felt like money was just going in all directions, right? You know, both of my parents had gone through a divorce previously, so all of my siblings have another family. And I think our house just felt a little chaotic because everyone was kind of going here and then there and then soccer practice and then these, you're juggling 5 kids. It's going to be crazy in general. And so I think sometimes for me, I was just like kind of in the chaos because I didn't go to these other families' houses. I stayed where I was, but everything around me was moving. So I just don't think I felt solid in me and in what I had and what I needed, because the parts of me, my siblings, like my family, the people that I love, were always leaving. And I didn't know if they'd come back. I didn't know when they would come back. And it just always felt uneasy and shaky. So I think it was just that shaky ground, and money was just one of those things that fell into it as well.
Sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I get that. Mainly because I was there at 15. I saw a lot of it happening as well, and the chaos moving in and out and just decisions making, and you got a lot of moving parts and a lot of bodies and a lot of experience all happening at the same time. It's kind of hard to take what you need from that and sift through it, especially as a young child.
Yeah.
Well, 3B, is it yours?
I want to take ownership for it. But I believe that the ownership came when I started being willing to do the work, to look at it and to spend time with it and ask it questions. But my true answer is that no, I don't believe that it's mine. I believe that this was a learned and taught behavior. I think that we live in a scarcity, not having enough fear environment. I think a lot of us grew up in that. And money was one of those things you didn't talk about. You don't discuss. You don't ask questions. And so I think I didn't ask questions. And so instead I just made assumptions. And those assumptions were incredibly detrimental to my well-being, my mental health, my relationship with money and people and items. And I believe that this one was a learned behavior that I've now had to realize was playing a role and spend time looking at it to be able to allow it to no longer control me.
Wow, that's really great. And I know every time we get kind of to the end of one of these that we both say, wow, that's great, thank you for sharing, and good for you. It's because, we've been with each other through a lot of these moments, and we've had bits and clips of these discussions, but for us too, this is like the first time we're hearing how far we're willing to push into these moments. We write something down in our notebook, and then we sit up here and we think about it and we share it kind of in real time. We don't talk through too much of this stuff. So it's an wow. It's an honest wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing with me on this one again, because we talk about money, but this has been it's been really cool. So 4, your application and course correction for your world with money.
My application and course correction for building a better foundation for your relationship with money is to start to see money as a friend and as a resource and as a tool. I think sometimes we give money more power than it needs to. Of course, right now, we live in a time where we need money to be able to survive, to be able to buy food and to be able to buy gas and, take our children to the doctor. But it's also a tool to be able to do that, so there are 2 ways of viewing that. You can view money as oh my gosh, I never have enough money because I always have to spend it at the doctor. Or I am so grateful for money because I have it when I need to go to the doctor, which are two very different thoughts and beliefs around money. And so I think the first step is looking at your relationship with money. How do you feel about it? How do you see it? How do you spend it? What do you feel when you spend it? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel scared? Do you feel, concerned? Or do you feel excited? Do you feel pumped that you just got something new? Do you feel joyful that you have a new dress to wear? You get to decide those moments. And I don't think that we necessarily get to experience the joy if we don't first see that we maybe do have a rocky foundation with money. Because of the way that we were raised and the way that you grew up, or the circumstances and experiences that you have, they're going to shape that for you. I think I don't have a challenge. I think I would love for you to write a letter to money as your best friend.
Awesome. Hey y'all, thanks for watching, and as always, like, comment, share, and we drop new material every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
If you're interested in our current projects or any of our future projects, please support our work at www.patreon.com/usfirstthat.